My name is Alicia and I am the Fanciful Flamingo, and this is my floss tube channel where we talk all things cross-stitching, life, kind of anything that tickles our pickle. So welcome. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. And if you are one of my followers and subscribers, sorry that it's been almost a month again. It was not my intention. We went to Disney for my daughter's 20th birthday at the beginning of the month, and Disney was nice enough to gift the entire family the flu. So we were down and out for a little bit. Everybody's fine but me. The flu left, but it left me now with this congestive, head cold, cough, all the good things. But I'm back and I can't wait to talk about January with you. All right, let's get into it. I love to start my floss tubes with prayer and praise. And this time I would ask for prayers for everyone who has been affected by these crazy winter storms. I'm in South Florida. I know that's hard to tell with this accent, but we have gotten a little bit of chilly weather, but when you live in South Florida, you're kind of oblivious that the rest of the world has seasons. So every time I see pictures of my friends in the north battling all this snow and ice, not even the north, because it's in Tennessee, it's in Georgia, it's in South Carolina, it is crazy. And now I hear that some of my friends in Texas are dealing with torrential rains. And having been affected by lots of flooding in 2023 down here in South Florida, I am praying for all of y'all. Praise for all of us that have made it through the year of January. I was watching Missy and Kathy this morning while I was stitching some, 2 needles pulling thread, and Missy said it's like, welcome to the 45th day of January. Why is January always so long? Why? I don't know. But my family especially, I feel like we have just been on a whirligig of it's January 10th again and again and again. So praise for all of us that have gotten through almost the first month of 2024 without losing our minds. If you have any special prayer requests or praise, please send them to onefancifulflamingo@gmail.com, onefancifulflamingo@gmail.com. And I would love to share those with the community. I apologize that I haven't gotten through all the comments from my floss tube right before the new year. But like I said, it's been a month. But I've gotten some stitching done. Not as much as I wanted to, because my word for this year, I had 3 words, but my big word is present. And being present and being in the moment. And not having to jump and do all the things just because. So when we went to Disney, I took 0 stitching, not even any stitching in the car. Shook my family. Shook it. I don't know why. But even at night, they were like, you're not going to stitch? I was like, I told y'all, I didn't bring anything. We went to the parks. Side note, Disney with adult children or teenage children is blissful. Friday night, we got there Friday. We went to Hollywood Studios because my kids love the Star Wars stuff. We let them go and wait in the 2-hour lines, and Vince and I sat on a bench and had a little adult drinks and watched the frazzled, tired parents with the strollers and holding the kids and all of that, and just sat back and was like, oh, because now we can let them go off into the parks. Saturday, we went to Epcot. And the weekend we went was crazy. We didn't realize it. We went for my daughter's birthday. That's what she wanted. It was marathon weekend. Yo, first of all, these fools get up at like 3:30 and 4 in the morning to run with no one chasing them. And then some fools, they do the 3K, the 5K, the 10K, and the stupid K. They do all of them. And then they walk around the parks with all of these medals. If you are a runner, we can't be friends. If you're not a runner and you ever go hiking, you want to take me with you, because if a bear ever chased us, I would just lay down and nominate myself as tribute. I wouldn't even run then. My kids always laugh that with me, they don't have to be the fastest runner. They just have to be faster than me. So props to all of the marathon runners. It rained and they ran in the rain. I don't even walk in the rain. I won't even go out when it rains. I don't understand that kind of stuff. Having said all of that, the parks were crowded. Saturday, we went to Epcot, which has now become like our favorite park. Epcot was great. Sunday, we went to Magic Kingdom. And my kids have annual passes, and we've lived in Florida for 8 years, and even before that, we've had annual passes for years. So we definitely aren't we have to do everything when we're at the parks kind of people. We're kind of like, let's hit the highlights, whatever doesn't have a line. We'll be back again this year. So my kids always have to ride Pirates of the Caribbean. They always have to ride Peter Pan. I have to do Haunted Mansion. And then my favorite ride is It's a Small World. 1, it's long. 2, it's air conditioned. 3, the boats are wide. So we did that. What else did we do? We did the People Mover, and we did the Astro Orbiter, which is the first time I had ever ridden that. I don't really like heights. I don't like things that spin around, but that was doable, and it was fun. It was kind of neat to see the park from that height. So that was a new one for all of us to do. And then we came home. And then the next day, I came down with the flu. And 2 days later, Gavin came down with the flu. And 2 days after that, Emily came down with the flu. And last but not least, Vince came down with the flu. So we shared the flu love and the Tamiflu and the coughing and the hacking and the groaning. And by the time we all 4 came down with it, we laid on the sofa in different sofas and chairs with our blankets. And we did movie marathons and passed the tissue box around. So that was January. Didn't y'all want to know all that? I know you did. I know y'all are thinking, isn't this a floss tube channel? It is. I'm getting there. So I started that whole story to tell y'all I hadn't stitched as much as I wanted to. So I lost about a week between Disney and the flu. That was where this started 6 minutes ago. So now let's get on to the stitching, shall we? I am doing the 24 in 2024 that Pam, Just Keep Stitching Pam and Steph, had introduced in the fall. And I did a floss tube at the end of December where I showed all of the 24 patterns that I had picked for 2024 and kitted up. So we're not going to go through that all again. That's not all I'm stitching in 2024, but I do have those 24 fully kitted, ready to go. So, and I'm doing 2 a month. So, my first one for 2024 was, and if you're wearing earbuds, I'm sorry, because I'm about to jingle jangle the plastic. My first one for 2024 was Plum Street Samplers Wilhelmina. And this was gifted to me by Emily of Primrose Cottage because she knows I love sheep. So, I have finished it. Sorry, it's not ironed. Look at it. I used all the call for. I will say, if y'all are thinking about doing this, just kind of a little heads up. This is actually charted in the round to go in this round frame. So see this flower right here? It's not covered because of the frame. That is all that's charted, is half a flower. I am not going to do it in the round frame. I'm going to do it in a square frame. So I just kind of mirrored the other side a little bit and made it a full flower so that mine could go in a square frame. Now this is still a little bit rounded and I maybe could have added some extra flowers in here, but I think it's fine. So, and here, I'll go ahead and fold it up and y'all can see what it's going to look like. in the square frame. But just kind of a heads up if y'all decide to do this, to keep in mind that it is charted in the round. So this is what it'll look like in a square frame now. But if I had not done this and put it in a square frame, it just would have looked weird with half a flower. So it works in a square. And it was easy to do. I mean, it's a little off, but I literally mirrored it. So my first one for 24 and 2024 is done. And it was it's a smaller one, but I'm giving myself half of the month to stitch it. And what I'm going to do is, I could have finished this in a week, but then I got sick. So it did take me the full first 15 days to finish it. If I have a small and I start and finish it before that first 15 days is up, I will move on to one of the whips that I have carried over. That's my plan on that. It's making me go back to being more of a monogamous stitcher. I was not last year at all. I had always been up until 2023. I have realized that I am a progress stitcher. I like seeing the progress. I love the process, obviously, but I love the progress. And I love starting and having a finish instead of another whip. And I have whips too. No rules in this. This is just something that I have realized in myself. So, have my first finish for 2024. Then, y'all know I need all the help I can get and all the blessings I can get for my needle. So you best believe that I did a blessing sampler again this year. And like so many of us have done, this is from the Camping Stitcher. And this is the Blessing Sampler 2024. And you can buy this on her Etsy shop. It is a PDF. It is wonderfully charted. Now, you may notice my house has a little bit different roof because I miscounted on my blessing sampler and I wasn't going to frog it. So I just fudged it and filled in the whole roof. What I missed was this line of the house should be one row over. And it's not, and so I just filled in the roof. So if I hadn't have told you, you wouldn't have even known. But see how the roof is here, and look at mine. It's all right. But leave it to me to flub a blessing sampler. But it is done, and I am going to frame it. I'm going to lace it myself. I'm going to attempt to frame it myself, even though it has a solid border, and that makes you twitch and drink a lot. And then I am going to put this at my front door for the year. And then I'm sure my friend Chris, the Camping Stitcher, will do a blessing sampler for 2025. Chris. And when she does next year, I will stitch that one and then swap them out. And then put this on my red sampler wall. So, my second finish of January was my blessing sampler. And I finished it in January. And my needle has been blessed. Here, knock on hardwood. Since I flubbed that. And y'all, I'm not even telling y'all what I'm stitching these on, and I have cards somewhere. Let's see. The Blessing Sampler is on Picture This Plus Legacy. It was a scrap piece that I had, and this is a 16 count. And I used Color and Cotton's Clara, which I think might have been a December color. The Disorderly Stitcher Nancy and I used the same color. And I'll just tell you one more thing. Chris has her initials charted here, and I just did mine. So, my blessing sampler is done. And then, anything I have started this month, I have finished. So, I don't have any starts. I really don't have a whip per se. I kind of do. But I have finishes. And then, so for Sampler Sunday, I pulled out the Rose and the Giant pair. My friend Pam has been doing it. Carrie's been working on hers. This was my birthday start. And I hadn't picked it up since probably October, November. So I picked it up this last Sunday for Sampler Sunday. I wanted to get back to that to give myself a little bit of break with these monogamous stitches. Oh shoot. I'll be back in. I do have one more. So I picked it up for Sampler Sunday and I worked on it Sunday. And then Monday was the 22nd, which is my birthday date. Not my birthday. My birthday's in September, but it is the 22nd. So I picked it back up. So I worked on it Sunday and I worked on it Monday. And then decided that with Wednesdays, I would stitch on my whip of the month. And I got it done. So the rose and the giant pear is done. Don't look real close at that pear and this leaf because y'all, I fudged the heck out of this. Didn't mess up on the border, didn't mess up on the house, didn't mess up on the flower. I don't know what I did with the pear, but this is what it looks like. It is a hands across the sea sampler. And even though it looks big here, you can see this is on 18 count. And look how little it is. But she packs a punch. And of course, I changed the initials, mine, Mint's, and our wedding year. So once again, another reminder to Vince about how 1996 was the luckiest year of his life. So that's it. That's as big as she is, even on 18 count. And I think this might be my first hats finish. And I used the Victoria Clayton silk conversion. And I had Carrie Tiger Lily Designs got me into these when we used the Victoria Clayton. This one came from Joann's because this one had a lot of floss, a lot of silk threads in it. And some of them you just used for a minute. But it's a great way to keep your flosses. And she gives you a little sheet with the conversions and it's super easy to follow. A couple things I will say. This is not the first one that I have done that is multiple pages. And I can't show you the chart, but I found this one difficult to do the overlay. A lot of times designers, when they chart multiple pages and they have the overlap on the pages, they will gray both sides. So you know that that is an overlap that hits two sides. Nickel Apartment doesn't. She only grays one. So you have to pay very close attention to what is the duplicate couple rows or columns. And I know that's confusing. I can't really show you without showing you the chart, but here, I'll do this. So she grays out what would be these couple rows on that page, but she doesn't gray it out on the other page. So to me, that was a little confusing and you had to pay attention. And that I scan everything into GoodNotes, but this is one that you definitely have to pay some attention to, but she's done. I will say that I was so close yesterday. I had some of the pear left to do yesterday, and I had all of this to do. And I kind of stitched this like it was my job yesterday. I finished at 10 o'clock at night, and I stitched a lot of hours on this yesterday. If I hadn't have been so close, I probably would have set it down and let it go to next Wednesday. But it was one of those things in my head where I was like, ooh, I'm so close. I'm going to push myself to finish. Good news is it's finished. Bad news is about 7, 8 o'clock last night, I stopped enjoying it. And I really would have put it down. So I don't know what to say about pushing yourself to finish something when you're overstitching it. I don't know. That was the only thing last night. I was happy when it was done. I'm looking at it today. It's beautiful. I'm glad it's finished. But those last couple hours last night, were not enjoyable stitching. It was stitching like it was a job. And like I was racing to punch out and go home. So I kind of have mixed feelings on that. So I have those. Decent month. On the 15th, I started my second 24 and 2024. So I have, like I said, 2 a month. So I started my second one for January, which is 100 Ways by Plum Street. Here's the chart. Again, sorry. Should have taken these out beforehand. You'd think I'd never done a floss tube before. So this is, I spun a wheel for the 24 and 2024 to decide which ones to do. And it was just luck of the draw of the wheel that both of mine for January were Plum Street. So this is 100 Ways, which is a quote from Jane Austen. I suppose there may be 100 different ways of being in love. My husband will tell you I have exhausted all of those ways. And there's a little couple. And again, this will be another reminder of how lucky he is. So I have gotten a lot of this done. Obviously, the words, the lettering go fast. So this part is completely finished. I have filled in all of the border. The top flowers are done. So all I have is this section right here. But this is full coverage. Like, all of it is filled. This is pinks all the way around. The houses are white. That little middle section, this little middle section will take me the rest of the month. And I'm not sure if I will finish it. Because it is a full coverage. And I will show you what I'm talking about. See? All of this little thing is all filled in. The other thing I will tell you on this, this is my first time, and this is a 32 count. I don't know what. I think it's a Grace Notes. That's the rose and the giant pear. I did not bring my sheet for this. Sorry. I think this is a Grace Notes fabric. I know it's a 32 count. This is the first time I have ever done 1/1 because I was an Ada Stitcher for so long. And Carol Saltbox Stitcher talks a lot about 1/1. Never really understood the difficulty. Okay. The Y is 1/1. N is 1/1. And if you wonder what I mean, it's, so I'm stitching on 32 count. So you're going over two little, you're counting over two. This is 1. So it's that teeny tiny. The letters were okay, but I can see why people are not fans of 1/1. Their hair and their faces are going to be 1/1. 1/1, when it's bunched up like that, is not easy to see at all. But I've done it. So check that box. I will pay attention when I buy their charts. Probably not, because I never do. About how much 1/1 there is. Because it is not for the faint of heart. You can do this on Ada. You're just going to have to rechart your Y and your N to get it to fit. And that's all I know how to tell you. But I'm loving it. Not super big, but it definitely packs a punch in this middle section with the stitching. So this is my second half of the month stitch. And like I said, this is all not all, but this is what I've got to do. And today is the 25th, so I've got what? 7 days. I can do it. And then we will go on to February. I'm going to pause for a second and get, oh no, I'm not. I don't have to pause. I brought my basket. This basket sits by my stitchy chair. And what I put in this basket is my two for the month that I'm working on. The whip of the month that I'm working on. The sampler of the month that I'm going to work on. And then my Prairie Schooler bag. And that's all that's in the bag by my stitchy chair. It's just what I'm working on for that month. So I have gone back to Stitchy Linda, Finally a Farm Girl. I know there's some others, maybe Teen Egner. They do the Prairie Schoolers Saturdays. And y'all know I love Prairie Schoolers, and I stitch the ornaments. And so part of what I did in the 12 by 12 on New Year's Eve with Kia B was get my Prairie Schooler Santas started for the year. So this past Saturday, so on the 12 by 12, I had like the outline of his coat done. Because I did 6. 6 and 12. So I stitched 2 hours on each of the Prairie Schoolers for this year. So this past Saturday, I brought him back out. This is the 2021. So this is what it looks like. And this is where I got Saturday. I leave the words off of my Prairie Schoolers, and somebody asked me, I put the year, and not the year that I stitch it, but the year of the Prairie Schooler. So instead of the words here, I will do 2021, so that I know, since I'm stitching from 1996 forward. So that I didn't do it on the first couple, and I regret it. And so I started doing putting the year on them in 2023. But again, somebody asked me this in the comments. I don't put the year that I stitch it. I put the year that it was charted, or that it came out. So that's what I worked on Saturday. And that's what I will work on Saturdays. And you know what? That gives me a good rotation and a good variety every month. So it is kind of monogamous because I have the 2 that I've picked for the month, but I have a whip, I have a sampler, and then I have my Santas. And so the other ones that I did on the 12 by 12 New Year's Eve is the 2018. And that's what I got done on New Year's Eve in 2 hours. So that when it's time to do this one, I can just pick it up and keep going. And these are all in the same bag. And that's what he'll look like. And that's 2018. I've tried to collect as many of them as I can. I am missing some years. Another one that I did on the 12 by 12 was the 2016 Santa. Again, I won't do the ho, ho, ho. I will probably put the year. So that's another one that I got done on the 12 by 12 that's ready for me for my rotation this year. I did the 2012. 2 hours. Where do I put the paper clip every time I lay it down? Golly dang. I did the 2011. So those are the ones that I have picked to stitch this year in 2024, and 6 of them. Of these. I did 6 last year. I did 3 or 4. And then I will add when they come out with a 2024 one for this year. And this, somebody had asked me, this, I thought I had gotten at Hobby Lobby. I did not. I bought this fabric, and I had bought a yard of it at my LNS. And it's chocolate Aida, 18 count. And I have been looking for it everywhere. Even looked on Yarn Tree. Can't find any more chocolate. So when I finish that up, those will be all the ones that are done on chocolate. And then I'll switch over to the Davos, which is the called for that I've ordered. So that is my stitching for January. And this year I bought, again, the Book of Days. I had it spiral bound, laminated, all the things last year. Did not use it. This year it sits in my stitching basket. And I have to fill in some of the days. But every day I am writing what I stitched on that day. I have all of my project cards so I can go back and look and see everything I did last year. But watching Brendan, Laura, and some other people that just religiously use their Book of Days, I really liked that you could go back and see your progress every day. So also what I've done in the notes is I've put here if I finish. So I finished Wilhelmina. And if I've worked on any whips, I put the Rose and the Giant Pear and that I finished it in my notes. And then again, my Prairie Schoolers, my sampler. So it is going to be a great little journal of what I'm doing this year. Hold on, I'm probably going to go off screen for 1 second, sorry. So, February's coming up, and I've got my next two ready to go. These are February, and what the wheel told me to do in February was I will start the Praiseworthy Stitches Courage sampler that is in honor of Pam, Just Keep Stitching, for her 25th anniversary of being breast cancer free. I got this at StitchCon last year and bought the fabric and the floss for it. Obviously, this will not get done in February, but I'm anxious to see what 14 days of stitching will do. And so I've got this honkin' bed sheet of fabric. And I chose to do Forbidden Fiber Company's Spice as the floss because I'm doing this in memory of my mom who passed away from dementia in 2021 and 2022. Her favorite color was orange. I couldn't quite do orange. It's not my wheelhouse, but I picked the Spice and I just thought these two colors, this would look pretty together. So in honor of Pam and in memory of my mom, Courage by Praiseworthy Stitches will be started in February. And then wherever I get to, by the 14th of the month, I will then put it to the back of my whip basket. Because I'm trying to finish up whips from last year and do them in a rotation. The other one that got called for February is Hen and Chicks by Brenda Gervais, which I should be able to finish in 14 days. I'm going to do this on Belfast linen 32 count Beethoven. And everything I kitted, I did with the called for colors. And actually, I think I'm going to start this one at the beginning of the month because I've had some bigger ones in January. So it'd be nice to do a small. And if I get it done before the 14 days, then that'll just give me that many extra days to work on Courage. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll start Hen and Chicks on the first. When I finish it, I will start Courage. Then I've got my Prairie Schoolers to do on Saturdays. And then my next sampler to stitch on Saturdays, which was also a whip, is Because of You, which I had started for our anniversary in August. It's another Hands Across the Sea. And if y'all will remember, my border did not match up at the end here, so I had to fudge. So that's where I left off. I will be stitching on this on Saturdays in February. And then wherever I get to at the end of the month with this one, it will go back in my whip rotation, and I will pick a different whip for March. And I may put them on the wheel and let the wheel spin and tell me which one to do next. I know I said in my last one what my whips were that I carried over. Not as many as I thought, but still. And then for Whip Wednesdays, now that I have finished the Rose and the Giant Pear, I'm going to get back to Alice from Tra-La-La. And, sorry, she's all wrinkly. This is where I am on Alice. So she will be my Whip Wednesday. And she's in an Alice bag from Como Stitches. And I even have Alice bling. I know, right? My friend Mary gave me that. So that will be my Whip Wednesdays for February. How you like them apples? See this bag? Look at the bag. Me and my Como Stitches bags. I know. So, that's not too shabby, is it? I don't think so. I think I'm right proud of myself. For what I'm going to be stitching on. And then they go straight into my stitching bag. Sorry for getting off camera so much today. And then I'm ready for February. Now, monogamous stitching and plan stitching doesn't work for everybody. I get it, you do you. My sweet friend Shelly, excuse me 1 second, I'm gonna take a sip. I don't always like drinking on camera, but. My friend Shelly, Antique Needleworkers, is a very emotional stitcher. So she has lots of whips because every day she feels like stitching on something else and she can go and grab from her pile. And that is awesome. I have whips as well. My personality is someone that needs to plan more. That soothes me. I like having choices. As you can see, I've got my 2 each month for 2024. I've got a Santa for Saturdays. I've got a sampler for Sundays. I've got a whip for Wednesdays. So I'm getting plenty of rotation and mixing it up a little bit. But 2023 plans, how I started the year, did not work for me. I had a 4th of July stitch on the 4th of every month. I had a Valentine's Day on the 14th. I had an Easter one. I had a Halloween one. And everything else I jumped on in between. And it just got, to me, it was hectic. And it was just like every day was just hectic. And so that was part of why I picked the word present for 2024. I wanted to be more thoughtful. I feel like at least the first half of 2023, I was just all over the place. Ran myself down, gave myself some health issues, didn't spend as much time with my family, and got to a point where I really wasn't enjoying cross stitch anymore. It was just overwhelming. I feel so much more at peace this year. Slowing down, being more present, being more thoughtful. And as I've gotten back into watching floss tubes, I realized that there were a lot of us that kind of went on a frenzy last year and have said, let's slow it down. Let's just slow our pace down, slow our spending. We did this, Jessica and I did the Stitch Your Stash last year in 2023, and well, I failed at that. So planning out 24 patterns for 2024, I pulled all of those patterns from Stash, as much floss as I could, and all of my fabric was from Stash. Now, there are quite a few people doing the no spending 2024. I'm not going to do that. If I want to buy it, I'm going to buy it. But I'm trying not to be as frenzied. Like every time somebody shows a pattern, I don't have to go out and buy it right at that moment, although I did today. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm also trying to be more thoughtful about what I stitch. My stitching tastes have changed since I came back to stitching 3 years ago. I realize I am not really a seasonal stitcher because I don't decorate seasonally. I do in the fall and I do at Christmas. I was doing a lot of little Dobo pillows to put at the front. I am not that much of like a Valentine's Day decorator. I do a little bit for Easter. I love anything patriotic. But this whole buying smalls to decorate and switch things out, I don't do a tier tray anymore. I put my dough bowl up for Christmas because I had different things out, and I haven't even brought it back because it was honking huge. I don't know if I'll switch out my decor as much anymore as I used to. So I'm trying to be more thoughtful in what I purchase as to where am I going to put it? How am I going to use it? What am I going to do with it besides collecting the patterns? So that has changed. That has slowed me down, and that has given me peace. I'm not going to have as much haul to show. I'm not going to have a million whips to show you. I'm also going to try to get back to finishing pieces like I used to. My box of shame, as Brandy calls it, is really piling up, and it was never like that. I used to really finish as I went, and I haven't done that in a long time. And so I have a lot of pieces that I finished that I haven't even displayed. Why did I stitch them? I'm ready to put them on my wall. I'm ready for my husband to see how much he loves me. I mean, I owe him that. So, having said all of that, I will be back in a minute with my haul for the month. Okay, this is not a week, it's for the month, but I'll be right back. Just when I think I didn't buy a lot. This is from Hobby Lobby. They're wood, and I got it like every other week. Their unfinished wood is 40% off. It is $17.99 regular price. So again, 40% off. And they have 2 sizes. They have a smaller size as well. I am going to paint this, decoupage it. Remember that I said that I was going to do all that, okay? And then I bought them, look, my project cards. I'm going to get dividers for the 12 months. And then this is going to hold all of my project cards as I finish them for the year. And they fit in there perfectly. Oh, it smells so good. So I have bought that. And it's going to sit, and it was sitting, if y'all noticed, right here. With my little spools on top. So I got that from Hobby Lobby. And again, if you have the Tiger Lily or the Teresa Garden Goose, or if you've made your own, I think the Naptime Stitcher, Katie, has even done some this size now. They fit perfectly in there. And then I'm going to have all of my projects for the year. If you know, you know. Como Stitches, had to have it. I swear I bought another one. I did. Dang it, and I already put it up. Because y'all know I can't cross-contaminate. And I have a story about that. I was looking for a Plum Street sampler that I had started last year. And I looked for it and looked for it and looked for it because it was a great fill-in. Couldn't find it, couldn't find it, couldn't find it. When I was going through my whips at the end of the year, it was in an Easter bag from Como Stitches. Never thought to look in the Easter bag because I just knew it was going to have an Easter pattern in it. See why cross-contamination is wrong. But also in there, and I don't know why I put it in there, was this one. Just stuck in there. Y'all, cross-contamination is bad. So buy yourself some bags. What did I buy? Oh, I had to buy some fabric from, I love Hollis Hands Creates. Now, I've never gone wrong with any Etsy shop. And y'all know I support my LNSs too. And I love Fat Quarter. 1, 2, 3. I share the love. Victorian Rose Needle Arts in Tallahassee. Love her. Or Gainesville. Somewhere. North Florida. Gainesville. Love Tinka. But Hollis Hands Creates. So I broke down and bought this one. Christmas in the Colonies. Because I don't have enough Plum Street. I bought a Shepherd's Song because it has sheep. And you know what? This is thick. So I am about to have a stroke. Yep. 285 wide by 178 high. Why can't I ever look at that first? One day I'll get to it. Last time I was at the Cross Stitch Cupboard, which has been a few weeks, but I'm going there today because I have to pick some things up. I bought the Blue Flowers Tudor Swan. I love me some blue flower. And then from Cottage Garden, I had bought Christmas Parade. And I don't know when I'll get to these. My Christmas theme is Santa's. I do have a tree that's full of cardinals, and I do have themed trees. But anything that is a Santa, I have to have. So then I bought the Cottage Garden Santa's House. And this is a series, and this was house 1. The second one is a castle, which is gorgeous. But again, in thinking about what I stitch and where I would put it, I got this one because it's Santa's house, and it goes with my Christmas theme. And then, y'all know I love Robin. Little Robin, have to have everything she has. So I had to get, and from what year is this? 2023, so this was new. Mr. and Mrs. Claus. They're kitschy. I love them. Last year, I found some Mrs. Claus Christmas ornaments. And if you have never really thought about it or looked, Mrs. Claus is not that popular in a Christmas ornament. And I swear the ornaments, this is her face. This kitschy little face. So I can't wait to do these. And then I have talked about this so many times. My friend Lori Wilson, Thread Milk, talked to me about her Jesus tree when we were at the Samplers Remembered retreat. And yes, ma'am. So I started my Jesus tree this year with purchased white churches and crosses. And so I saw this, I think on Fat Quarter Shop maybe. These are the Black Work Angels. And they are little. When they are stitched, they're like a 2x3. And so I got these for my tree next year. I am going to do it in Onyx by weeks and Yield Gold by weeks. The called for, I think, is like it is a 310. But this is also stitched with the Chronic Metallic number 4 gold braid. And I don't think I need to curse while stitching things for my Jesus tree. So we're not going to do Chronic. We're just going to do Yield Gold. And so I want to do these this year and have them ready for my Jesus tree. And black work is also special to me because I am from, my heritage is Spanish. My mother was from Spain. A little bit of cross-stitch history. Catherine of Aragon, which was Henry VIII's first wife of his 6, is who introduced black work to the masses. She did black work cross-stitching on her undergarments to make them a little bit more pretty. And that's where black work started. So not only will this go on my Jesus tree, but it's black work. So I'll also think of my mama. And then I bought the Prairie Schooler Book 88 of Santa's. And y'all, I know we talk about this all the time. Thick cardstock, copy paper. Come on, Prairie Schooler. Come on. And then I got these at the cross stitch cupboard. This is book 28, stockings and more, but I want to do these little stockings. The stockings are 3 3/8 by 3 5/8, as if I know what that even means. It's 61 by 65. And the little miniatures, these little things right here, are like 1 by 2. 25 by 25. Golly dang. Stinking cute. So I bought those. Again, this is all of January. And then y'all know I cannot, as much fabric as I have. This was at the cross stitch cupboard. It's Atomic Ranch Serenity 36 count. Look at this. Oh, I was like, why did I buy that? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And then I love Sarah Jackson Fabrics. And anytime she posts that she has fabric out, I go and get it. So this is, and she is on Etsy, but she posts on like Facebook and Instagram too. So this is Jackson Fabric Arts. London Fog, 32 count. Look at that. And one of the things that I love about Sarah Jackson is that she always includes a little sample of another fabric she has. And this is Portsmouth. And you better believe I'll be buying it. But I love that she does that. I do. And then this came from Hollis Hands. See what this is, shall we? This is Broomgrass by Needle Bling, 32 count. This is Flannel Flower by Fox and Rabbit, 32 count. I just bought some more yesterday from her. This is Saltbush, 36 count by Fox and Rabbit. And this is just a fat quarter of each of these. And then, last but not least, Hog Bristle, 36 count, Fox and Rabbit. Yes, y'all, I'm a neutral linen stitcher. I was watching the Sassy Southern Stitchers yesterday, and that was their 5th floss tube. They are new to me. I don't know how they're new to me, but both of them pick the prettiest colored fabrics for their stitching, and it looks fabulous. Blue is about as fancy as I get. I just like my neutrals. I can't help it. I'm vanilla. What can I say? Because I really like my stitching to be the focal point. And I'm going to say one more thing. I was watching Nicola Parkman yesterday. And y'all, cut it out. I did not see it the first day. When I saw her last YouTube or floss tube yesterday, it was 3 days old. And she showed this wooden round scissor holder thingy with mice on it that she had put on her shop 3 days before. And it wasn't cheap. It was not cheap. So I thought, surely she'll still have some on there. 3 days, all sold out. All sold out. I have never, ever, ever been able to buy any exclusive thingamabobby from Nicola Parkman, because it's always sold out. So I'm going to go on the wait list because she says the guy might make some more. But she was talking about stitching, and she just come back from the attic. And I would love to go to the attic one day to take some classes because I love to learn. I've said it a million times. I was an English, Lit, and History double major. I love to learn. But right now, the highest count I stitch on is 32. The highest count I buy is 36. There's a difference. I collect 36. I stitch on 32. And the people at the attic stitch on Bounty paper towels. They just do. And everybody always talks about when you go there, Jean convinces you that you can stitch on 56. One day I'm going to go to the attic because I will be Jean's greatest challenge because that's never going to happen. So 56. Okay, I said some not very Christian-like words stitching 1 over 1 on 32. 56, okay, 56. So Nicola was talking about her samplers, and she was showing some of the one that she's working on to release, and she said that, like, she likes the stitching to be the focal point, not the linen. So she is now stitching on 64 count. 64 count, okay? 32. Can't even see 1 over 1. Double that is 64. I'm pretty sure I can do that much math. And she said, and I quote, if you can stitch on 46 or 54 or whatever it is, it's just, and I don't know how she said it because she said it in her beautiful accent that I don't have. She said, it's just a stone's throw to 64. What stone? First of all, that's not even a pebble of sand, Nicola. But no, it's not a stone's throw to 64. No, it's not. Bounty paper towels aren't even that absorbent. We've already gone on to something else. 64? I love you, Nicola. You know, I think I need to work with you on naming your charts. 64. I would love to sit by Nicola Parham at a retreat. Parkham Nicola at a retreat on my 32 count. She would probably just faint right over if I tried to do a hat on 32. She seems really nice, but I don't think that she would appreciate it because 64 is a stone's throw. How do you gauge 64? What kind of gauge do you use? Because here's my little gauge. It's got 16 count, 18 count, 25, 28, 32. What kind of gauge do you have to even figure out at 64? Somebody let me know. And I just remembered one more thing. As I digress 100 million times. Is it on here? Okay. Is it on here? Yes. Somebody asked the question of why I mark, I just saw it, my centers when I stitch, or my tops. So I am a stitcher of two ways. When I was taught to cross stitch, you only ever started in the center. We didn't really do samplers in the 80s. We did the big dimensions and all of the other stuff. And you started in the center and worked your way out. So I always find the center and mark it. And then your charts usually have the arrows where you can find the center. Excuse me. Since I have started doing samplers, I do, excuse me again, a lot of times I will start, or if there's a border, in the top left. And I do either a 2 or a 2.5 inch start from the top. And I have my gauges. This one came from the Fat Quarter Shop. But you put it there on the corner, and then you can draw whatever you want. I usually just leave, even when I'm gonna lace and frame, I usually only leave 2 inches. You don't need more than that. The rule used to be 3 inches, but that's a heck of a lot of fabric. And then I have these pins. They come in a pack of 3 that I got off of Amazon. And these are heat sensitive pins. These are not the friction pins. I do not find that they work, and sometimes they can leave a mark. These are true heat. They're from Madame Sew, and they are heat removable. So when I finish my stitches and I iron them, that center mark or that corner mark, where's the center mark again? Right there, disappears. But that way I know if I'm doing a center start, just where to start there, or if I'm doing a left corner, where to start. And trust me, you want to put an arrow which way your fabric goes, especially when you're starting especially if you're doing something like an ink circle or anything that it's not 100% clear where the top is when you start, because I have started before the wrong way. So this is a lifesaver. And one, you wouldn't see it even when you finished it, but two, again, it will disappear. And I cut my fabric when I go to stitch. I measure it out. I give myself 2.5 on each side, top, bottom, and then I cut it. Because I don't like stitching with a lot of extra fabric. I find it hard, I find it cumbersome, and I have stitched through both things of fabric before. So I do cut my fabric when I'm going to start to sew. I know a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people want to make sure. On this one, it's especially why I started in the center, because I wanted to make sure that I had enough all the way around, and I do. So, just a few things for this floss tube, and I thank y'all for joining me. I want to say a special thank you to everyone who has shouted out the Fanciful Flamingo's Favorite Things subscription box. The next box will go out the first week of March. This is the last week to get in on the order. Our designer for the March box, it is an Easter box. It is Susan O'Brien with Sweet Wing Studios. I have seen the chart. I have seen the colors. It is glorious. I have already begun to curate all of my favorite things for this box, and I can tell you that the camping stitcher and her husband are featured as one of my favorite things in this box. This time also I am featuring the cross stitch fabric. It is by Grace Notes. It is what Susan used for her stitch on this pattern. It is a 16 count Aida. It is only a 16 count Aida because it was something that I felt like everybody could stitch on. It will have a finishing fabric. All of my boxes always have a finishing fabric. This is the one time that I am doing a cross stitch fabric as well. But Susan loves Grace Notes. I love Corinne at Grace Notes. I use a lot of Grace Notes fabrics. So that will be in this coming box as well. If you would like more information or the link, you can send me an email at shop@fancifulflamingo.com. shop@fancifulflamingo.com, and I will send you the link. This is the last week that you can get in on ordering to make the March box. My boxes are bi-monthly. So we had one in January, we'll have one in March, May, July, September, and November. Each features a different designer. I curate the box according to the pattern. You always get 10 things, and you also get a zoom stitch with that designer. Just for the people that order the box. So thank you for everyone who's ordered the box. Thank you for just the sweetest messages. My cup runneth over, and y'all have no idea what that does to this girl's heart when you tell me that you love the boxes. Stitch Florida 2024 is full right now. Again, if you'd like to get on the wait list, send me an email to shop@fancifulflamingo.com, and I will add you to the wait list. We will open up the wait list February 11th. The second portion of the payments are due by February 10th for everyone who has paid their first deposit. The second deposit, the second half, is due by February 10th. And after that, we will open it up to the wait list. So, and we are working on that. Myself and Annie, the Proper Stitcher, are your hosts for Stitch Florida 2024. It will be July 25th, 26th, 27th of this year in Orlando, Florida. So we've got that going on. And then right now, one last thing, on the Fanciful Flamingo Facebook group, I am hosting a little, if you are doing a blessing sampler in the month of January, if you post a picture of your finished sampler, you will go into a drawing for this wonderful Como Stitches project bag full of goodies to get your year started off fantastically. So that's a lot, y'all. My goal in 2024 was to come back on a much more regular basis, and I am hoping that I am going to be able to do that, and hopefully, knock on my thick head again, the sicknesses are gone. I am going to my first retreat of the year in February, which is Beach Please. I cannot wait. Emily Call is the designer for that retreat. It is in Clearwater, Florida. I think there may be just a few slots left, but I am going to get to see some of my friends and hug their neck and just have a weekend of just fellowship and community, and I cannot wait for my first retreat. I did not get to go to Stitch Away in the end. I also had the flu, so I missed seeing a lot of my friends, but it looked fabulous, and lots of retreats coming up this year, and more being announced every single day. So I know there's got to be one near you. I highly recommend, if you've never been to a retreat, to go. I promise you, you won't be alone. You won't feel alone. 2 seconds after you come in through that front door, you're going to have friends for life. And as always, y'all, in everything in life, choose joy and bring joy to someone's life today. Love you all. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye, y'all.